Today we have a 2010 Volkswagen Golf. This has the CAXA engine. That's 1.4 liter TFSI. And the complaint with this is that it has a start, run, stall condition, and it's pretty consistent. I was actually called on a different ticket on this one of an ABS issue, but when I came today, this is what it's doing. So this is going to end up being two different diagnoses. When you put on the key, interesting thing is, take a look at this. There's no prindle, and we have a flashing brake light, and I do have my engine control light. So let's start it and see what it does. So watch this. Battery is low. You had that start, run, stall. Now if you noticed, we had no tack, we have no prindle, and the car just quit. You know what that tells me? I think we have a network issue. Yes sir. So let's get Otis out and attempt to scan this network, and I bet you we will have a no-com on this network. So let me set up my Otis. Now before I go over there, I just want to tell you something. When you're working on Volkswagen vehicles, you need this document. This is a vehicle identification document, a complete vehicle identification. It has your VIN, and it has got all the option codes of the vehicle. It's a hefty document, 6 pages. You used to be able to download this from Elsa online. You just pay for a subscription for a day or for 1 hour, and you download this. Now Volkswagen, being the a-holes that they are, decided to take that out of their system. Now you can't get these easily unless you go to a dealer. Well, I know other sources where you can get this, and I'm not going to tell you because I don't think they're quite legal. But this is what I keep telling guys. I have no problem paying for subscriptions to the automakers, but if you keep doing stupid stuff like this, it's a stab in the foot for yourselves. You force us to go to other sources that aren't very good. So have this document handy, because you're always going to use things from here in Otis, especially when coding and stuff. You need this document. So let me boot up Otis and let's attempt to scan the car and see what we have. And here we are in Otis, and just as I thought, VIN not found, check ignition / diagnostic interface. So this is definitely a network issue. Now let's go to the wiring diagram, pull up the network for the drivetrain. The VIN is pulled from the drivetrain network. So I want to see what that network looks like. Wiring diagram next. All right, here we are in ElsaWin. We've chosen the current flow diagrams. Going to select the English, and let's go to the powertrain or data bus. Here it is, data network from July 2008. Is there another one? We're in 2010. Let me just search for data. So there's 2 options, 1 and 2. No, so you have 1. So data bus network here, and let's go to where I can see one of the drivetrain components, and that's this one, ABS. Okay, so here is our network. Now before I go here, let me see what the network master wire is, and that is B383 connection 1 in powertrain CAN bus high, and B390 connection 1 in powertrain CAN bus low. That's in the main harness. So that's the master bus. And now we can go in here, and if we take a look at this, we see this is the master bus, B383 and B390. So these wires are orange brown and orange and black. That is our data network wires. And we have all these modules. So J104, J500, and then down here J623, J869. If you see two of them, it means there were two different options in the car. We'll need to go to our detailed options, and that is why we have that other document. And let's go to the previous page. You see it extends to this page here. And to know what those are, they're listed here. So let's go to the previous page and see what we have here. That's our data network. That's our master bus here. So you've got J250, 234, 743, E313. I think I remember that's a selector lever. 791, 446, and J743. Oh, we also have J217 and R242. So I'm going to write all this down, and then we go to track 48 and 49, which continues. So let's go up. We see track 48 and 49. That is here. Okay, so our bus comes from here, track 87 and 88. Are we 47 and 49? Yes, we are down here. So here we have CAN high, CAN low, J533. And that's the data bus diagnostic interface. So this is the interface that the diagnostic module plugs into, and it's the one that basically pulls all the data networks in the car, the powertrain, the comfort network, radio, etc., combines them into one and translates in between the two. So I have written these down, and we're going to go back. So let's ID all these. So we have selector lever, 234 is the airbag, 250 is electronically controlled dampening computer, and then we've got 446. This one is the parking aid control computer. 743, sorry, is a mechatronic unit for the DSG. 217 is the automatic gearbox CU. I know we don't have this because we have the DSG. And then R242 is the front camera for driver assist systems. And then on the next page we have 104 ABS control unit, 500 power steering control unit, 745 control unit for cornering light and headlamp range control. So let's go down here. 623, that's the ECU. 869 is the control unit for structure borne sound. I hate this thing. I hope this car doesn't have it. What this is a unit that changes the properties of a car when you have a vibration so that you don't hear it or feel it. It is a deterrent for a lot of us diagnostic technicians because it hides stuff from us. This is not a good idea. I wish there was a way to turn it off by putting the car into diagnostic mode, because it can actually compensate very strongly for things like misfires and stuff. I do not like that system. 623 ECU, and this one is not on that network. So those are our units. Now, remember I told you need this document? This document now will tell you what is on this car and what is not on this car. So let me go through this document and let me go through my list, and I will tell you what we have and what we don't have. So this is my list. I have crossed out what we don't have. So we don't have the dampening CU, which is good. We don't have the parking aid. We don't have automatic gearbox. We don't have the front camera, and we do not have the structure borne sound ECU. So ECU, control module for cornering light, power steering, ABS, airbag, and selector lever. That's what we have. Now, what is the easiest thing to get to? Because I need to get into this network. So let's go to the front of the car. And the only two accessible ones, the ECU is buried under the cowl. Boo. Down here we have the DSG connector. It's right under there, but it's not that easy to get to. But right at the corner here we have our ABS. So I am going to remove this, and I'm going to tether into the ABS network lines from here, and that will make us see the whole network. And then we will begin eliminating. Somebody is corrupting this network or bringing it down, but I don't know. I need to see it first. So let me put a scope on those lines. Oh, in case you're wondering, yes, our selector lever is one of our network computers, but this selector lever is not easy to get to the connector. It is buried way back there, and in order for us to reach it, we need to remove the entire console here. And since this is in a sheltered place, I am highly doubting that this is the cause of our network carnage, but you never know, it may be. So for now, I'm going to leave this alone. The easiest thing is the ABS. Let's go to that. Right, that's our network connections. Channel A, CAN high. Channel B, CAN low. And our battery is getting low. And that sound you're hearing is our donor vehicle charging. So let's go in and see what we have on the picoscope. Alright, so let's put on the car key on. And my goodness, that network does look good. At least from here. Let me start and stall. Start again. Oh, now we have a no start. Okay. Put off. And let's go back. I just want to look at that network. That's what we had. Take some measurements. So we've got 2.4 to 3.5 volts on the CAN high, and 2.3 to negative 1.66 on the CAN low. I mean, that looks pretty good so far. I'm not seeing an issue with the CAN. Let me get it when the system is running. There it is. Let me stop it here. Put the key off. And let's check this out. Okay, we appear to have a good CAN. But now, is this CAN network complete? I need a second point. I hate to do this, but it looks like I have to fish out the ECU. Or Why don't we have a Prindle though? So we're not communicating with somebody. Interesting. So oh, wait. Look at this. Why is our data repetitive? This data looks repetitive. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This. Why does this data look repetitive? Yeah, even here you can see there's this, then these two short ones, then it repeats again. Almost. So it's almost like the ABS module is calling and there's no response. So what I want to do is this. Let me go and disconnect the ABS module while the key is on, and I see what is going to happen. So the key is on. Let me let that continue running. Let's go disconnect the ABS. Okay, ABS is disconnected, and we still have that communication going. Looks the same. The dash has not changed, and I put the key off, put the key on, start it. We still have our start stall. We still have no tach. Okay. This is interesting. Let me go and disconnect the transmission computer and see what happens. First, I'll reconnect the ABS. Alright, I have disconnected the gearbox. What I want to know is, because this network looks actually fine, is there communication between the gearbox and the engine computer? And let's try and start it. And now we have a no start. Okay, so crank, no start. So that tells me that the communication between the engine and the gearbox is fine. So let me go reconnect it really quick and start it again. Alright, reconnected the gearbox, and we have a crank, start, stall. Now, going back to our Pico here, there's nothing wrong with my data here. This is a perfectly good CAN line. So here's what I think. Start, run, stall, no tach, but the ECU sees the gearbox, because when you disconnect the gearbox, the ECU doesn't even start. Why don't I take an aftermarket scan tool instead of Otis and do a manual identification of the vehicle and then see if we can see any modules? That'll give me an idea if my J533 is alive or not. Alright, I've done a manual VIN entering. Now let me just go take a health report, and I want to see if we can find which modules are online, or if we'll communicate with this thing anyway. So let that finish scanning. This is going to take a very long time, just like the Mercedes that was half dead. It takes a very long time to scan, and I hope I get at least something. If I don't get anything, then I'm suspecting my diagnostic data bus has a problem. If I get something at least, then it'll give me an idea of where to go. So let this thing finish. Okay, this is all the evidence I need. It's been 9 minutes. The only thing that has come up is the transmission control unit, and I know why based on previous experience from another Volkswagen, and I'm going to put that on YouTube later on. That was a very interesting case. I know that the transmission control unit, this DSGs, they have a direct line, a K line, to the diagnostic port. So everything else goes through the diagnostic interface. Nothing else being populated by now. I'm not hopeful I'll get anything else. We do not have any communication with the diagnostic data bus interface. Now I have direction. So what I want to do is to find out now from the wiring diagram where the diagnostic data bus interface, where it stays, and we're going to check its powers and its grounds and see if that thing is alive. But it's quite dead based on what I'm seeing here. So let's go back to the wiring diagram and look for the diagnostic data bus interface, look for its powers and grounds. All right, this is our diagnostic interface. We have CAN low, CAN high, CAN low, CAN high, CAN low, CAN high. So these are different CAN lines coming in to the interface. And then here T20 we have our grounds. Sorry, T20 pin 11. T20 is the connector. So pin 11 we have our grounds, and then pin 12 is a LIN bus, and pin 14 and 1, that's where we will get power. Definitely this thing needs power. So 16 and 23, let's go to 16. What is here? It's refusing to go. Let's try 23. Yes. So zoom in here. So we have 16 fuse SC2. We're going to check that fuse first, and then 23. SB 24 or SB12. So this is an option of two different E-box high and E-box low. I do not know what that is. But it really doesn't matter. What I can do is I can check both fuse locations. We will have either one or the other. So our two fuses are SC2 and SB24 or SB12. Let's go look for them and find out if they have power. All right, here's our first fuse, SC2, and it's hot and hot, so that fuse is good. Second fuse is in the fuse box in the engine bay. Second fuse is here. And that fuse is also good. All right, now with our fuses good, we have no choice but to pull apart this panel and go to the diagnostic interface and check the powers and grounds right at the diagnostic interface. Oh my goodness, this is where this work doesn't get very enjoyable. That, what you're looking at, is my relay block. Onboard power supply unit. My data diagnostic interface is behind it. To get to it, I need to remove the cluster because this panel has got screws under there. There's one here, there's one back here, somewhere under here. basically the cluster is in the way. So cluster comes out, then I can have access to the screws on top there. Then I can pull my panel out. Then I dislodge my relay block. Then the diagnostic interface is behind it. Wow. Thanks, Volkswagen. Let's do it. All right, there is our prize. Lucky for me, this panel here is a separate panel. So after removing the instrument cluster out of the way, I was able to get to that screw right there, and then remove two other screws here, pop that panel out. There's an airbag that goes down here which you need to remove, which is down that side, and then the relay carrier itself just slides, pops out. There's a clip on one side of it, and that is here. That clip pops out, relay carrier slides, and then this pops out from its holder. There's one here and there's one on the other side, and you just pull it up and it comes out. So now it's accessible. I'm going to cut that tie, expose those wires, and go to town on this. So let's do it. Okay, I have removed the orientation cover, which is this one. Then the connector slides out from here, and I've put the connector in. Now be very careful with this. Once you remove that orientation cover, you can put this connector backwards. If you put this connector backwards, you're buying a new module. So we're going to take one channel only, and from the wiring diagram, we're supposed to have two power supplies, one ground, one LIN bus, and the rest are CAN lines. So let's start here. This is the first power supply, and that power supply is good. This is a ground, this brown wire here, and that's good. And I know I'm in there because you can see if I remove, it changes. So I'm in there. This is a second power supply, this purple wire, and that's good. So our powers and grounds are good. Now we either have a bad module, or it could be that one of these CAN lines is carrying a signal that this thing doesn't like and is shutting down. So let's just go down the line. We're going to start on this side. So this is the CAN low side. Let me put my light where it won't shadow. Alright, so let's go here. So that's a CAN low line. Let's go to the next one. That's a CAN low line. And by the way, you can see these two are different. Volkswagen uses different CAN protocols for different networks. I've been burnt by this before, saying that the CAN always starts at 2.5 volts and goes up to 3.5, and from 2.5 down to 1.5. That's not true, at least in Volkswagen's world. I've seen CANs as high as 8 volts going down to 6, and 8 volts going up to 12. So be very careful with that. This is not a problem. Okay, so let's start again. So that's a CAN low. That's a good CAN low line. That's a good CAN low line, and all these should be CAN low. And that's another CAN low. Okay, let's go to the next one. That's a ground. I don't like that. Okay, let's proceed. Yep. Oh, look at that. That's a power supply. So why do we have a power supply over there? I do not like that. Let's keep that in mind. Let's turn to the CAN high side. Start here. And that's a ground. I don't like that. It's another ground. I don't like that. That's a can high, which is a good one. And that's another can high. And that looks like a LIN bus. Okay. So what I don't like is this. Right here at the end. Why do we have 12 volts? We're never supposed to have 12 volts on a CAN line. So this is pin 1. So this is pin 10. Let me see what it is. And I can see here it's a twisted pair. So it's definitely a CAN line. 10 and 20. Let's go to the wiring diagram and see what 10 and 20 are. Alright, so here we have 10 and 20. And those are the wire colors that I have, orange and brown and orange and violet. This CAN bus, the master bus, is A179 and A178. So let's see what those are. (178) 179 connection, infotainment CAN bus. In dash panel. And is our radio working? Let's see. That's our radio. Looks dead to me. Oh, it is working. Okay. So the radio is working. Let me scope the CAN line when the radio is on and see what we have on that bus. Alright, the radio is on, and let me scope this line again for the infotainment bus. And we still have 12 volts on that. I do not like that. So here's what I want to do. Input the key off. So I have isolated the two lines that are suspicious. I've depinned these two. This is the one that had the 12 volts on the CAN line, on the CAN high line, and 0 volts on the CAN low line. I don't like that. This is the infotainment CAN. And this other one had no voltage on both wires. But what I found from the wiring diagram is that this one goes to the diagnostic connector. And that will make sense. There will be no voltage when there's no scanner attached to it. So when I've attached my scanner and I have attempted to scan the car, now I have good CAN on these two lines. So everything here is good. We've got good powers, we've got good grounds, we've got good communication, but this is not responding. So that means we have a bad gateway. Now we need to get another gateway. Could this have fried the gateway? I honestly don't think so. I don't think 12 volts on the CAN line would destroy the gateway. Probably just blow that channel, but not destroy the entire gateway. So I think we just have a bad box. But for now, we're going to leave this disconnected. We're going to get another gateway and put it in here, and then see if we can code it. I've never coded a gateway. I don't know if it's possible to code it without online coding. We are going to see, but for now we have a bad gateway. So let's take this part number down. So there's our part number there, and then we are going to see if we can get another gateway, put it in here, and that should solve this problem. Now we still have the ABS problem, but the thing is this: is it related? Was the gateway going out all along, and that's why the ABS had a problem? I don't know. This could be a separate issue, or there could be another underlying problem with the ABS, but we will not know until we replace this gateway. So let's look for a replacement, and then we will pick this up again. Alright, we're here next morning, and the garage owner wants to be 100% sure that that gateway is bad, because he doesn't believe that yesterday or the day before yesterday the car ran, but yesterday it did not run, and he is doubting my diagnosis. So I told him 100% confirmed we have a gateway issue, but he's still doubting. So what he suggested is on the next bay we have another Golf. So this is another Golf, apparently supposed to be the same year. I need to confirm with the VIN, but I have already pulled the gateway from this car. This car is here for a bad DSG, very typical on these Volkswagens. So I've pulled the module from this and I want to put it in there and see if it will work. I need to be very careful. I'm not very sure if it will be bricked by the immobilizer. The last thing I want to do is to set an immobilizer code. That'll give me a very bad day. So I'm just going to do my homework very quickly and make sure that if I interchange modules, even if the software is not exactly the same, I just don't want to trip the immobilizer. So I've pulled it out. Let's go back to the other car and see. All right, here we have the module installed. Now I have depinned still the CAN lines for the infotainment because, as I said yesterday, I do not like the fact that we have 12 volts on one of these lines, and I'm not sure if that is what has damaged the gateway. I don't think so, but I don't want to take any chances. So infotainment CAN is out, and this one has a slight part number difference. The one that we pulled out of this car is AA, this is AD. I mean, the software is slightly different, but I've done my homework and I know that it will not brick the car even if the software is different, and the module will not be affected. So, moment of truth. Let's focus on the instrument cluster. Now it's upside down. And you can see we have Prindle now here. And I want to start it. Let's watch the tachometer. Beautiful, we are running. Tach is active, engine is running. It's running rough. I don't like the way it's running, but it's running, and we're not stalling. So that is confirmed we have a bad gateway. Now I'm still very uncomfortable. Okay, he needs a gateway for sure, but gateways just don't die. What killed this gateway overnight? This is under the dash here. There's no water that gets in here. I honestly do not know what killed that gateway. And I'm reluctant to put a new gateway in here without finding out what killed the other gateway. I'm going to try my best to find that out. For now, let's go to Otis, and I want to see... Oh, before we go to Otis, let's pull the VIN number for this donor vehicle, and I want to see the differences between this VIN for this gateway and the VIN for this car, and see if they are the same, and then we will proceed. We still have some warning lights there. So we have ABS, traction control, and we have what is this? That's the power steering. Now that power steering, I'm not too worried about it, because if the car's been sitting for a long time, usually you have to initialize, so that normally goes away, but these two are not supposed to be there. So the ABS and the traction control. Let's go to Otis and see what error codes we have. Alright, here we're looking at the vehicle specific information. This is for our vehicle, and this is the donor this is the donor vehicle here, and this is our vehicle 1564. And just looking at this too, I think we are lucky. This is spot on. So we have a different date of production. This is 9/11 to 2009. This is 17/10/2009. Doesn't change the model year, still 2010. This is the most important part, the sales type 5K 13 G5, and they are the same in both, which means this car will have the same configuration, base configuration at least, in the gateway. We may have a few differences Same engine, I can see. Transmission code, we have a different code. This is LWZ and this is MGK, but it's still an OAMJ DQ200-7F. That's the same with this one. So the interior is the same, exact, and of course the color is different. So I am not too worried about that. So now we can go to Otis and we can do a scan. So let's go to Otis. Alright, here we are in Otis. The car is running right now. Let's start the diagnosis, and now let's see if our VIN will be detected. And it is up here, and it's the correct VIN, 1564. So I was correct. The VIN is pulled from the drivetrain CAN network, not from the gateway. So the gateway doesn't have the VIN encoded in there. So this is the model year 2009. It's not a Golf Plus, it's a plain Golf. Sedan. Engine is Caxa. And let's apply. So we'll wait for the control module list to be populated and then take it from there. Now we'll have a whole host of trouble codes when this thing scans. I'm not too worried about that. I had the key on while connecting and disconnecting the gateway, so let's just proceed and pick it back when all the control modules are scanned. Alright, for the radio, if you look at these options, you need to choose the correct option for this. Just by looking at the radio here, you cannot tell what it is. So what you need to do is to go to your vehicle specific information. That document is important. So let's go to our vehicle specific information and we'll see the type of radio we have, and then we select it appropriately here. Alright, here in our vehicle document, under radios, code 8AH, we have radio RCD 310 Japan. So let's go back to Otis and we're going to choose RCD 310, and that's option 3, and that's done. Okay, we've finished, and just as I suspected, look at all these error codes. Alright, change of plans. As I was preparing to go to Otis, this guy is very quick. He sent a rider all the way down to town and they brought a replacement of the same part number. So this is what we took out. This is what has been brought, and you can see it's been marked, and that is what I took from the other vehicle. So let me take this back to the other vehicle, put it in the dash, put everything back together, and then we'll come and put this one in and then scan the car with this one and hope that our configurations will match. Alright, we have put in the replacement second hand that has just come, and this is the faulty one. Let's put that down for now. Let's come to Otis and let's scan. Now, input the key on. Let's see. Alright, that's good. We have Prindle. That's a good sign. Let's start. We have TAC. Oh, the ABS light is off. Interesting, but our traction control is on. Wow. Okay. On the other one, the ABS light was on. So now let's go to our Otis, and right now I see a problem already. Look at this: ignition status not recognized. I don't think, look at this. This replacement module is also faulty. How about that? If you recall, I could scan the other one and we could enter just fine. I can't scan this one, and you can see here my interface is connected to the car, but I am not recognizing the ignition. This module has a bad CAN network from the module to the DLC. That is unfortunate. So we have to take that module back and we have to get another replacement. This is what I was telling you people about second-hand electrical parts. Not a fan. This happens a lot. I do not do second-hand parts. It's not my car. I'm in a garage, so let me tell the owner and send this back and get a replacement. This is ridiculous. Okay, take two. This is the replacement module again. So we couldn't get the AA. The only other AA they had was the one that was not working on the diagnostic side. This is AE. So let's plug this in and see if now we can communicate with the car. Okay, we're connected. Let's put the key on. And we have Prindle, which is good. And oh, look at that. IBS is off and we are not flashing anymore. Start the car. Very nice. We have TAC. Car is running. Appears to be stable. Okay, let's go to Otis and scan this thing. So in Otis, now look at this, ignition switched on. So it is recognizing the gateway. Let's see if it'll pick up the VIN. Very nice, it has picked up the VIN. So let's continue. I'll come back when our modules populate. Alright, we're done. Let's go to the control modules. Now, as you can see, we have all these errors here. I'm first of all interested in the gateway. I want to see what errors are there. Supply low voltage, lower limit not reached. Data bus infotainment, no signal communication. So this is fine because I have disconnected the infotainment module. Should I connect it back? Should I risk it? Well, let's leave this here for now. So what I'm going to do is go back to control modules and let's go to total DTC. Can we erase everything here? Not quite. Let's go back to control module list. Let me go to vehicle OBD, total DTC memory. Yeah, this is the screen I wanted. And now clear. Let's do the complete system and then we're going to perform. Do you really want to clear? Yes. So let's clear everything. Okay, so everything is cleared, and I don't like this view. Let me go back to the control module's view. Now let me rescan the vehicle and see which list will come back here with DTCs. So before I rescan the vehicle, I've just made a decision. I want to reconnect my infotainment can. It could be that that 12 volts is not a problem. It could be that it's just that this can is from 12 volts going down and from 0 going up. I've seen that before on Volkswagen. So let me reconnect my infotainment can and then rescan the vehicle. Alright, I'm in my control module list. I've rescanned and it's looking good so far. A few errors here, but I am thinking some of these have to do with coding. For example, Central Electrics. Oh, by the way, before going there, check this out. I am communicating with my radio, and in my gateway I don't have any error codes, which means my infotainment can is working. So is that a can or a LIN? It may be a LIN, because I don't know how cans go from 12 volt. But you know what, I'm curious. I want to go on that 12 volt wire, and I'm going to check with my scope what it shows. But first I want to clean this up. A few errors here that are of concern. On the Central Electrics, if I go here to DTC memory, look at this: power sunroof control module, no signal communication. Roof shade control module, no signal communication. Guess what? I don't have any sunroof here. So this module was taken from a car that has a sunroof. We need to code this stuff appropriately. So what I want to do is to go to my control modules, go to my gateway, and I'm going to go to guided functions and code control module. This is the test program. Code data bus on diagnostic interface. Ignition must be on. The vehicle diagnostic tester must be connected. Okay, let's go. It's collecting data. So this will not help me, because this module is going to be coded online. I don't have an online account. I wanted an offline coding, which it doesn't seem to have. So let me scratch this. Since it is identical to the other one, I want to go to the other one and retrieve the coding for the other one, and then, like you see, it's asking for username and password. We don't have that. Let me cancel. Let me go to the other car, retrieve the coding for the gateway, and then code this one appropriately. That will be the best thing. Alright, so what I did to code it manually, I went to the other vehicle and I picked the coding from the module and manually put it in here. So this is the exact coding, and I applied. So now I don't have a sunroof anywhere showing up, and my control modules are good, apart from the steering assist here, which requires you to drive the vehicle so that it calibrates the sensor. I think we're done. 2010 Golf with a bad gateway module causing a start stall condition. Very good. I have another Euro here coming up, an Audi, so let's go to that. Meanwhile, until next time, see you.